Welcome, beautiful Paris and German family. In today's video, we'll strictly be focusing on the second legs of the UEFA Champions League quarterfinals and what teams can go through. We'll go through every single game, obviously. First of all, let's start with you know what? That's the most interesting game to look at. Let's take a look at Bayern München versus Inter Milan. How do I look at this into the second leg? Obviously, Inter Milan got a 2-1 victory away at the Allianz Arena. And looking stats-wise, Bayern München had 2.3 XG. Inter only had 0.78. One big chance compared to 5 big chances for Bayern and 4 big chances missed for Bayern. Obviously, you always perform better at home, slightly worse away, which means that Inter's performance will probably get even better and Bayern's performance will get a little bit less. But as you can see, it's still a tight game. And for me, this game, it was all about who's going to take their chances. Inter Milan obviously don't get that high of a volume of chances, but when they do get a chance, it's a high quality chance because it's usually a counterattack against, a Bayern München defense that has been pushing up too much. So I don't know. I still see it as an even game and 2-1. Like, that's basically an even result. 1 goal from Bayern, it's game on. And they will feel confident and so on. So despite, the injuries for Bayern München, they have still performed really well. As I mentioned, I still see the game very open. It's all about taking the chances. Because for me, this game was basically decided. Like, who's going to win, who's going to lose by this chance right here. Let me find it. Is this one? No, this one right here from Harry Kane, 0.25 XG. Should have been a goal. Harry Kane should have scored that. It would have been a goal in the 26th minute for Bayern. They keep on putting that pressure because for majority of the game, it was Bayern putting on pressure on Inter Milan, keeping them in their defensive box, both with the ball and without the ball, with very high press and so on. So if they got that goal, continue that pressure with the stadium with them and everything, it would have been a totally different game. And that's the Champions League for you. It's all about the moments. If you don't take your moment, the opponent will do. Because Inter, guess what? They scored what? Yeah, basically 12 minutes right after that Harry Kane chance. So obviously that miss was game-changing. Obviously the goals from Inter Milan as well. And same thing happened when it came to the second goal. Bayern München just kept on pushing. Finally got the goal from Thomas Müller, which is too open, similarly to like Brazil versus Croatia. And Inter Milan got to go through Fratesi, a very great counterattack once again. So I think Kompany going into the second leg, the main thing he has to look at is not offensively. I think offensively they did well. Obviously, they can do better, but they did well. Obviously, they will know the Inter Milan defense, the Inter Milan players, so there's some kind of an advantage there for the Bayern München attackers. But I think Vincent Kompany going into this game, the biggest thing he should be focusing on, the thing he should mostly be thinking about, is how to potentially prevent Inter Milan's counterattacks. Even though they didn't have that many, just when they have them, it's high quality. So think about potentially, fouling a lot. I remember actually Kompany, when he used to play for City, a lot of people talked about Pep and his tactics of like intelligent fouls. I think that's something definitely Kompany and Bayern should be doing when Inter Milan get into those counterattack opportunities. And then offensively, take your chances. That's how simple football is. And I think will be a huge game for Harry Kane. I mean, Olise is still, in the beginning of his career. So if Bayern lose out here, he still had, he had a good game here. I'm expecting another good game from him. So not the worst. But when it comes to Harry Kane, you made the move from Tottenham Hotspurs to Bayern München. Why? To win trophies. At Tottenham Hotspur, that was the club, you came from the academy or something. You've been there so long, you could have broken the Premier League record. But you left all of that to join Bayern München, one of the top Champions League sides. And this is the games you should be living for, not Union Berlin and Hoffenheim. You've done a really great job at Bayern. I've seen the goal ratio of Harry Kane at Bayern is absolutely insane. But this is where, people will be remembered. It's the Champions League. Lewandowski scored so many goals in the Bundesliga, but what he's mostly remembered for at Bayern was that treble season. So Harry Kane, look at that, had 6 shots the game, not a single goal. Harry Kane, you need to score. You still had a good performance in this game apart from clinicality, but you just need to score, Harry Kane. This is your moment. You are 31. If Bayern advanced in this game, maybe get some fortune, you're in a semi-final versus Barça, who knows what can happen, and then it's a Champions League final at the Allianz Arena. So Harry Kane needs to understand this is a big moment in his career. He has to take it. Because Inter Milan are beatable. They are beatable. Moving more to Inter Milan, what they have to do is just play the same football. The same football worked at the Allianz Arena and Bayern München. Even just generally this season, I do think they have missed a lot of big chances in the Champions League. So it's not something new from Bayern. And they, got suffocated for major parts of the game, but they survived the clearance of the clearance of the clearance of the headed clearance of the tackle of the interception of the block. Like, they defended so well, so I'm expecting Inter Milan to just do the same thing. I don't know why Di Marco didn't start the game, but he could potentially start the game, and Inter are just better. I think their long balls to Thuram and Martinez were really good, so I'm expecting them to continue that, and just a normal Inter performance in the Champions League. Who is going through is a very interesting question because I don't know. But probably Inter. I'm going to give percentage-wise, I'm going to give Inter Milan to go through 80% and 20% to Bayern. 20% going away with a 2-1, maybe slightly more. I'm going to give Inter Milan 70% to advance in this game because it's only 2-1. And I'm going to give Bayern München 30% to advance in this game. Moving on from this game, let's take a look at the FC Barcelona Borussia Dortmund game. There's obviously not that much to talk about from this game. It's 4-0. 4-0. I think the only comeback from 4-0, whether it be away or home, was obviously the memorable remontada back in 2017, and that's an anomaly game. That's only happened once in the football history. Will Dortmund do that? I don't think so. Especially because this Barça side loves playing teams that aren't high up, leave a lot of space, which probably Dortmund will have to do if they want to score some goals in this game, and then Barça will just punish them. I could see this game once again be filled with goals because both teams will play openly. I don't see Barça trying to defend the 4-0 lead. I see them trying to play their football, maybe lower intensity, lower carrying because they're 4-0 up, very comfortable. Whilst Dortmund, they will be very pressured, but still have the stadium on their side. And obviously, the Wellenstadt Arena is one of the best Champions League stadiums, so I think that will definitely be on Dortmund's side in this game. Dortmund, I saw them, they had some chances against Barca. Like, Guirassy missed, I think, 2 big chances in this game. So, Dortmund can get goals. They definitely should have gotten at least 1 goal in the previous game. It just won't be enough because Barca would get at least 1 to 2 goals as well. So it's basically Dortmund have to score 6 goals in this game to take it to extra time and to penalties. So yeah, I just don't see this happening at all. I'm giving FC Barcelona to go through. What's the highest you can give? 99%. Yeah, 1% to Dortmund. If they do this, this is probably a greater comeback than remontada, strictly because of the quality. Like, Barca, quality-wise, is a way better team than Dortmund. PSG and Barca was still more quality than us. But it wasn't as big of a difference. So if Dortmund do this as the underdog, by far in this time, it would be the greatest comeback in football history. So yeah, I'm giving them 1% and FC Barcelona 99%. Moving on to the Paris Saint-Germain game. A bit similar to the Borussia Dortmund FC Barcelona game, the scoreline just looks too big, especially when you look tactically into the game, how the first leg was played, how the second leg is going to be played. The game finished 3-1, with Paris Saint-Germain only having 1 big chance this game. Well, there is a major reason for that. It's because Aston Villa did absolutely nothing, having only 25% possession and a high XG of that easy tap-in. So, Aston Villa are 2 goals down. They would need to score goals. They would need to be more open, leave more space, press higher. Obviously, that means Aston Villa will get more opportunities against Paris Saint-Germain. And I'm expecting and hoping that Donnarumma saves them. Pacho, obviously Marquinhos will be back for the second leg, that he's making good, important interceptions and blocks. But that also means defensively, there will be way more space for Paris Saint-Germain's attackers. And as we saw, we got space, a lot of space for 1 moment in the game. Amazing counterattack finished out by Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. So I'm probably seeing the same. I think once again, Aston Villa will put in a tough performance at Villa Park. They've absolutely nothing to lose. This is a potentially historical season for Aston Villa. I think they're still in the FA Cup. Can get another, get back into the Champions League by finishing high up in the Premier League. But yeah, no, this is yeah, Aston Villa would definitely give it their all. And I think our players could actually come in a bit arrogant potentially. I think even before the game, obviously there's a difference between facing an Aston Villa and Liverpool when it comes to the hype and excitement our PG players can have of beating the upcoming opponents. So that could potentially be, a thingy at Paris Saint-Germain, some comfortability, having a 2-0 lead. I haven't really seen Paris Saint-Germain. I did. We had a 2-0 lead versus Sociedad, and we had an even better performance away. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Paris Saint-Germain performed really well in the first leg, but I think Paris Saint-Germain are going to perform even better at Villa Park because generally we play better away. Second of all, just the game time. The first game, it was Aston Villa parking the deepest bus I've seen and us trying to penetrate through it. The second game will be probably Aston Villa pressing high or sitting high in a mid-block, and Paris Saint-Germain just having loads of space in behind. Paris Saint-Germain obviously not playing a game on this weekend. That be positive? Could that be negative? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, this entire season has been filled with 2 games a week, so could potentially be a negative, but I don't think it really matters. Mentally, the players are focused since the last game into this game, so yeah, I see PSG once again winning. Like looking at Dortmund Barça care way less probably about winning that game, especially because they're still in a tight title race in La Liga. Whilst Paris Saint-Germain, I see them beating Aston Villa in this game. Percentage-wise, yeah, this will be a huge thing for Villa. I'm gonna give Villa 5% and PSG 95% to go through. And lastly but not least, the most interesting game to talk about somehow. Obviously, when this game ended 3-0, Rice scoring 2 bangers, Merino gets a goal. I'm thinking, yeah, it's over, right? And it is over. I still believe it's over. Like percentage-wise to go through, I'm gonna give Arsenal 100. Yeah, you know what? Nah, because, yeah, Madrid also much better than Dortmund. And, okay, I'm going to give Arsenal... You know what? Let me wait with the percentage. I think... I don't know. I'm very excited to watch the second game because I want to see what's going to happen. How is Madrid's performance going to change? How is Arsenal's performance going to change? I think Arsenal, talking first about them, because I can put myself in their situation a bit. When Paris Saint-Germain beat FC Barcelona 4-0. I would say it's similar games. Why? Because the first game is at home. You beat, was Barça a reigning champ? No. Yeah, they were one of the best teams in the world. Same with Real Madrid. You beat them with a great scoreline. But what happened in remontada? Obviously, some cheating happened. Barça, played well, really well. And Paris Saint-Germain battled. But I think one of the major stuff that made us battle that game was the comfortability. A lot of our players' mindset in that game was, we've scored 4, they're not scoring 4, right? Yeah, that's not happening. Especially if we get a goal. Especially back then, it was away goals. It would have been game over, tie over. But that mentality is what shot us in the foot. Us going in with that mentality into that game is what made us comfortable, is what made us, lose focus, make stupid mistakes, only focus on defending. Because Barca were pushing high up and there was so much space in behind. But the entire game, I think we feared Barca, especially in the Camp Nou, full packed stadium, Neymar, Messi, Suarez. So this would be a huge test mentally for the Arsenal players because, they are a great defensive side. A good, great defensive because they basically play so many centre-backs everywhere. But I think Arsenal, because they are a good defensive side, is what makes it even more likely that they're going to go through. It's going to be really tough for Madrid. Madrid defensively are not the best. I could see Arsenal get a goal and then Madrid have to score 4 goals. Haven't really seen. I've actually seen, I think, like Arsenal fans post a stat like they haven't conceded 2 goals or more than 2 goals for like 3 years or something. So Arsenal are not a side. So if, let's say, Madrid make a comeback, again, it would be an absolutely craziest thing. To make a comeback, you need all of your attackers firing on cylinders. Like, Madrid can't just rely on Vinny, can't just rely on Mbappe, can't just rely on Rodrigo. Like all of them have to be cooking. All of them have to get pretty much a GA each. Maybe one of the centre back scores from a corner, even though Arsenal are good from corners. The thing with this Arsenal side to give some positiveness in Madrid is, they don't have that much UCL experience. And could, the pressure could come to them. We've seen teams go to the Bernabeu and then, not from the get-go, shit themselves, but in one moment, maybe Madrid get a goal, maybe they get a penalty, maybe you make a mistake, and then you just shit yourself, and then Madrid just take advantage of you. We've seen that happen before. I've also seen potentially Ceballos could be back for this game. That would be good for Madrid, but I don't know how good he's going to be. He's been out for injury for a while now. But yeah, this is a big game. Looking, as previous as I said about Harry Kane, this is a big game for many Madrid players. Many Madrid players. I think of Courtois once again. Not Courtois. Rudiger, no. Asensio, Valverde, no. Okay, it's basically about the attackers. I think Jude Bellingham has to perform. He has to perform. The thing is, though, because Vinny and Mbappe are in the team, what I've noticed is Bellingham gets the least critique out of the three. Like, all of them can drop a stinker each, and Bellingham will get the least critique. So, I guess whatever he does, it won't affect him that much. But he could have a good game. He could get, a GA. That's how he has a good game. Vinny could cook. 100%. Vinny could have an absolute Champions League masterclass. But he has to be so focused and concentrated. And honestly, Timber, shout out to him. I remember he had a great job versus Barcola when we faced Arsenal. And he had a very good game against Vinny in the first leg. So Vinny has to be able to beat his duels with Timber. And Kylian Mbappe has to be a threat. But it's also a lot about the ball progression from Madrid. Like, Mbappe and Vinny and Rodrigo have to receive the ball in space. Someone needs to make a good pass for them to have a good opportunity. I think that was one, failing thing for Madrid. In the first leg was the defense and the midfield weren't operating well. They weren't servicing their attackers. Not to excuse the attackers' very bad performance. So it'll be very interesting if Arsenal, from the get-go, just sit back. Because if I was Arsenal, I would not absolutely do that. I would just try to play my game as I played at the Emirates. Obviously, it'd be more difficult. You're 3-0 up, less hunger, a bit more pressure. Playing at the Bernabeu, Madrid will probably have some extra intensity in them. But Arsenal should try to just play their football and potentially make, their first semi-final, I guess, since 2006. This would be, a huge moment for Arsenal. Knocking out Madrid as well would be absolutely huge. They've obviously done it before. So yeah, those are basically all of my thoughts from this game. Percentage-wise, let's say let's say 95% Arsenal, 5% Madrid. Or 90? 90% Arsenal to go through, 10% for Real Madrid to go through. So, if you're just going off percentage, I'll obviously be making, more direct predictions by numbers and so on. Arsenal to go through, Inter Milan to go through, FC Barcelona to go through, Paris Saint-Germain to go through. By the knockouts, we will have an Arsenal-Paris Saint-Germain semi-final. Very, very interesting. I want to badly get revenge on Arsenal. In the other bracket, we would have FC Barcelona versus Inter Milan, which would be another interesting tie, especially, high offensive football, high defensive football. Inter Milan's counterattacks versus FC Barcelona's high line. Barcelona's ball domination versus Inter Milan's. That would be a great game. And Arsenal, I don't know. I just hope Arsenal don't park the bus. But yeah, that's been it from your boy PSG. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed this video. And as usual, allez Paris.